Welcome to the Studio Success Formula Podcast, the business school for dance studio owners. And now for your host, Clint Salter.
Hi everyone, it's Clint Salter. Welcome to this week's podcast. And I've been listening to so many of you say, Clint, I love it when you have studio owners on the show that kind of share their experience and how they grew their studio and what they're currently going through. So over the next few months, we're going to bring you more interviews with studio owners. And I'm super thrilled to be able to introduce you to Holly, who is actually one of our program and association members, and she is from the Dance Connection in Santa Clarita. Hey, Holly, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Really well. Thanks for joining us today. Now, Holly, I'd love for you to share a little bit about your studio with our audience. How long have you been running it? And really, what are your main philosophies as a dance studio owner?
We have been running our studio for 19 years. Hard to believe.
Wow.
I was 21 years old, still a student at UCLA, and my husband and I saw an opportunity, and it was my passion, and so we went full throttle. We've been running the studio together, though we don't work side by side each day. He does have a normal day job. We still make a lot of the decisions, and through the years, we have worked side by side. So that's definitely an experience. Our main philosophies at our studio are, we certainly work hard to create dancers that, should they choose to be professional dancers, they have the technical skill and the versatility to do so. However, many don't. We know that, there's 0.5% or whatever choose to even go on. So our main philosophy is really trying to build a family atmosphere in which we're nurturing our students and helping build their confidence, because I've heard so many times from alumni students that team atmosphere and what they did here at the studio really helped them in other areas of their life, be it college or a job or an interview or any of that type of thing. So that's really what we try to help build with our students. Yeah,
I love it. It's great. It's a philosophy that, that I had as well when I had my dance studio. I want to jump back and talk to you about working with your husband, because as you know, lots of studio owners do have a partnership. It is a husband and wife team. And so I'd love to hear kind of your thoughts about how you've made that work. And during those times where it might have been challenging, what have you done so that it doesn't too heavily impact your normal life outside of the studio, if there is such a thing?
Yeah, if there is such a thing. We did it more closely back when we have a 10-year-old daughter now. So now, you go home and it's all about her, and we need, family life needs to happen. So, but when it was just the two of us, we really view our relationship as a team. So we brought that into the studio, and I think that was super beneficial. We looked at each other as equals, and we were a team. Granted, there weren't many times he had to jump in and teach a dance class, but he certainly was there to help hear from the parents. He helps with prop construction, music, all types of different aspects of the studio. But when we both went home, sometimes he'd want to continue on the conversation, or I would, and we just have to say to each other, okay, let's watch a show, or we really would have to try, because even now I find times we'll go out to dinner and we often talk about the dance studio. So it's a hard challenge, but you really do have to make an effort to not make it all consuming all the time.
Yeah, I agree. And I think, I'm a big believer in having like date night, like once a week, where you can actually go out together without any children and you can just focus on the relationship. I think is so important, because, and you would know as well, and I've seen lots of studio owners who are co-owners with their partner, and it just becomes so consuming. And then you can end up losing your real kind of identities, and everything just becomes about the studio.
Right. And that certainly has happened over the years and times. And the other kind of good thing about it, though, that has happened, there's been times where I have been in a funk or very jaded, or, and he's brought me around, or vice versa, so we really have been able to kind of play off of each other sometimes when you're down about things, and the other helps find perspective.
Yeah, totally. Starting your studio, now I know it was 19 years ago, but I know we've got listeners that are about to start, or maybe they're in that kind of 1 to 2 year period where they're really laying the foundation for their dance studio. What would what was one of the challenges or a couple of the challenges you faced early on that really felt like you were hitting a brick wall? And I guess the second part of the question is, how did you kind of get through it?
Okay, I thought about this recently. If I were to do it all over again, what would I do? And number one would be try not to please everybody, because it's just not possible. And so many times I think as studio owners, we're afraid we're going to lose that customer, or that dancer means so much, but the parent may be a total pain. So we really try to do what we can to please everybody, but it's simply just not possible. And you really, I think age, as I've grown older, I've realized that, you have to stand by your beliefs and the way that your studio has to be run, instead of trying to please everybody.
Do you think the reason we do that is because we're not really sure what we want or who we want to serve? Do you know what I mean? Like, do you think that takes a little bit of time to kind of work that out for you to go, okay, you know what? I really don't want that type of parent in my studio, but I really love this type of parent.
Right. No, definitely. And certainly by being in the program, I've realized, the all-consuming parent is just that, all-consuming, but you have no positive energy left for everybody else. So why keep that parent around?
Yeah.
So that's certainly something you really do have to find, who you are trying to market to, and what does your studio provide for the certain group of people out there, and work towards that rather than providing everything to everybody, because it's just not possible.
And so what's your number two?
My number two thing would be that when you're setting up your tuition scale, so be it that parents are paying by term or monthly tuition, to really do your research and look at what other studios in your area are doing, what your rent is, what all your expenses, so that when you have to, raise prices, because we all do, that happens, you're within a great parameter where you started. So you're not having to do it drastically, but you're also, even keen with everybody else. Maybe not the cheapest, maybe not the most expensive. You have to do what's right for your area. I think that's really important geographically. But when I started, I was coming from teaching classes through a Parks and Rec program, which was certainly much cheaper. The Parks and Rec set up the pricing scale. And so I was taking those customers with me and setting up my tuition scale based on, similar to what we had there. And that just wasn't a great idea.
Yeah. I mean, how did you, because, so often, we start our dance studio. I did, loving to teach dance. And then I got thrown in and I was like, oh no, now I've got a business. Like, how do I go about setting prices? How do I know about the numbers? Did you, at the beginning, did you kind of educate yourself around, fees and profit and loss statements and, additional revenue streams? Was that something that kind of came with time, or did you seek out a great accountant or a great bookkeeper?
I really had a great group of parents around me that helped. My own parents, too, certainly were very helpful. Though one a government worker and one a teacher, their minds were not business savvy. They worked differently. So, but a lot of it was self-taught over the years, and additional revenue streams. That wasn't, that didn't even dawn on me until, 5 years in. And I realized I was already doing some, but could take more opportunities with others. And I learned that even every day today. You're constantly trying to better and improve and find ways that you can find additional revenue streams, and obviously always trying to improve the business.
Yeah, definitely. Now, the other thing you touched on, which I loved, was really what you're trying to build in your studio and have achieved, which is a really nurturing environment where they feel part of a family. Lots of people say, we have a great environment, it's fun, it's friendly, everyone's friends. How have you really gone about making sure that that's a core value of your studio and the people inside of it?
we really try, well, actually, let me back up. I think one of the best testaments is that I have been able to hire as teachers some of the dancers that grew up here. So the teachers come on with knowing no other way. And so they certainly, pass on the nurturing, confidence building, team building that they learned with me. And I think that just started with my husband and I because we so valued, that we weren't going to build one star who would be on So You Think You Can Dance. We were going to build a team of dancers that could stand on their own and be good mates and be a CEO of a company and, just have the qualities that they learned through dance and being a part of our team. And go on to be successful in life. I think that was just one of our core values when we started and continues on today. But I definitely think our staff and instilling that in our staff helps tremendously. And them being able to work as a team. And so the dancers see, oh, wow, this teacher A went to Miss Holly and asked for a suggestion, and Miss Holly went to teacher A and asked for a suggestion. We do the same thing. So we've really tried to instill that with our students. And then I think just in general with students, I'm very active on social media, trying to make sure that I'm a presence in their life, commenting on when they won an award at school or, Instagram, Facebook, you can do it anywhere. That certainly the parents can see that it's important, that you're putting an importance there. And then just simple things that take a lot of time for myself, but end up, and I'm not gonna lie, have been headaches oftentimes, but trying to work around a family wedding, that you knew about 9 months in advance. So you don't schedule a competition team rehearsal or competition the day of, or, just those little things that to a family means a lot so that families still can have family time. And if they see that you're valuing that, then they see the value in you, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Oh, completely. I love it. I love everything that you're touching on. The first thing around, now being around for 19 years, having those dancers that are moving through the ranks that go from students, knowing exactly how you operate as a business, as a teacher, as a studio, then being able to come into a teacher role and then teach students. Do you have a teacher training program as part of your studio? Is it kind of more of a organic progression? And I'd love to know, how do you determine those students that will be the great teachers?
Sometimes it happens by chance. The one that you think, that you least expect is the one that turns out to be fantastic. And I am picky. When students want to become like an assistant instructor, and sometimes through the years I've had to offer like scholarships, if the student has been on their high school dance team and they can't really afford studio classes, I've said, well, you can help clean the studio or you can help assist classes and, you'll be on scholarship for tuition. But even with that, I insisted that the student give me a resume. So I knew what I was going to do. I knew that I was going to let them be on scholarship, but they needed to learn that I was serious. And this wasn't just play. This isn't a hobby to me. This is a business. And if you're going to interact with my students, you need to take it seriously. So they'd have to write a resume, and then I'd call them in and we'd do, a very short and simple interview process. And it was more for them to understand how seriously we take it. And some students that are your best technical dancers don't necessarily become the best teachers. There's been some that you think, oh my gosh, I'd love for you to stay and be a teacher, but they go off to college and they have their dreams set on, moving across the country. And that's okay too. That's what we want for them too. So sometimes it is a little more organic. And then in terms of teacher training, I always have them assist with me because I feel that that's important so that they can see from the top up, I'm still in the trenches. I still take the trash out. I still, pass out stickers on little kids' shoes. That's all important. No job is too small for my own hands. And also, then I have them assist with other instructors too, because I think it's important, just as a student should take from several different instructors, so should a teacher learn to teach. And then we also have, our teacher workshops held throughout the year oftentimes our teachers will take advantage of conventions and whatnot there. So I think that all of that helps a teacher become well-rounded.
Yeah. Oh, completely. I love your philosophy around this. And I think so many of the studio owners that are listening are going to be like nodding their heads going, wow, this sounds fantastic. But I'm assuming it's taken you, I mean, you've been going 19 years. I'm assuming this didn't just kind of happen straight away, and that it's been a bit of a work in progress.
Yes, and still, I think dance has certainly changed even in the last 7 years in our area for certain. So much more competitive, so much more all-encompassing. Where so many dancers are dancing, 5 hours a day, 6 days a week. And that's not for everybody. And we've had to learn that, in some of the hard ways that the students that wanted that, this wasn't necessarily the place for them because our masses didn't want that. And so many mistakes made over the years that you look back and go, what was I thinking, or why didn't I get rid of that parent that took up so much time and made me rethink if I even wanted to own this studio long before I did. It certainly is. You learn so much about yourself, I think, and that helps you be a better leader for the studio.
Yeah, completely. Now, when it comes to, I guess, you and being the CEO of the studio, where do you spend most of your time day to day in the business?
Okay. I teach 10 hours a week are my weekly classes, but then with our competition team rehearsals or private lessons, during the busy months of January to June, you probably would add on average another extra 5 to 10 hours a week on there. So I do teach more than I would like to right now, just based on being able to have some family time and balance that at home and yet still grow our studio. I am a perfectionist to a fault, and that's something I've been so working on. And so I get overwhelmed with, I want to recreate the website tonight, and that can't happen, so I've had to really learn to take.
I love that. It's so funny though, because that is not uncommon, and you've probably seen that in the association where people are like, okay, I'm on this new project and I'm going to redo my website, and it's good in theory, but those things take time.
I'm still working on it from last August. It takes time.
Yeah.
And my thing is I want to get it right. I'm not going to put it out there unless it's right. So in terms of day to day, I really have tried to this season, when we start our season in August, I really tried to set days of the week that I do certain things, and that's very hard for my creative ADHD brain that would flutter all over the place. But I really have been trying to, make a schedule and be clear. I'm not perfect. I fail every week at least. Sometimes, every hour I feel like, but I really do try. And I feel it's important for me to be in the studio because that reminds me, and teaching classes, that reminds me of why I started, and being able to see, our students' weaknesses and strengths, and we should be concentrating more on conditioning or flexibility, or, and being able to lead the instructors in the way, in which I see us needing that.
Yeah. I'm completely with you on that. I love that you say, that you fail like every week, sometimes like every, multiple times during the day, because as you know, my thoughts on failure is that, we're always kind of learning in those moments, and why they don't feel amazing at the time, that there's definitely, lessons and growth opportunities, in those times. Right.
Oh, for sure. And you just have to make sure history doesn't repeat itself. That's...
Yeah. I mean, that is, that is the goal, because if we keep doing the same action over and over again, we're going to keep getting the same result. And then we go, why does this keep happening? Why do we continually get this type of parent in our studio? Well, because you haven't clearly defined who you want to attract and bring in, which is what you chatted about before. And something that you said, you learned from, being a part of our Studio Success Formula, program and our association. I mean, I'd love to know why did you decide to join us in the program when you started?
Even though I have been in business for 19 years, like I said, I'm a perfectionist to a fault, so I always feel that there's a need to improve. And certainly our revenue was not anywhere where it should be, could be. And that was really my main goal, was finding ways to help improve that, because, I felt like I was at my wit's end. And also, I don't like feeling alone on an island. I really feel like, there are other studio owners out there. I love the Facebook group of hearing they're dealing with the same things, the same challenges and the same, rewards that we see, be it little, be it big, but, and just hearing other people's success stories of how they increased revenue or how they were able to do one little thing and it helped this problem. Or, I think all of that has really helped focus me a whole lot more, rather than, brain dumping and not knowing where to start.
Yeah, and it's, and I see that obviously daily in the association with the conversations, that are going on and that I'm a part of as well. But, I know with, having my own business, it's amazing to be able to surround yourself with a group of people that are in your shoes. Because like you mentioned, I think it does get it can get quite lonely sometimes, kind of being the studio owner and like kind of looking around and go, well, who can I talk to that's going to understand me, and what I'm going through.
Right. Oftentimes, because I find that my friends are the parents or past parents. And because we're here so much, so much of our time is invested. And now I have a daughter dancing at the studio, so she has friends and parents of those, dancers. And so you can't talk to them. So
you don't want to talk to them.
Well, of course you can, but not about that crazy parent in the lobby yesterday.
No, or that crazy text message or email you received from someone asking why their child isn't in the front line.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I get it. Holly, look, thank you so much for sharing, that value with our studio owners. I know they wanted to hear more from studio owners that are in the trenches, so I appreciate you taking the time. What would be, the one thing that you'd love to leave the studio owners that are listening, like one tip, one strategy, something that you feel like has really made that shift for you in growing your studio?
I don't know that I have one golden piece of advice, because I feel like I'm constantly learning too every day. But I think the one thing would be kind of just to trust your instincts and not second guess or not look at what everyone else is doing in your area and, try to copy or do what they're doing, because you started because you love teaching dance and you wanted to pass on that knowledge and that passion to children, which we obviously know makes a difference in their lives. So I think trusting your instincts and your gut, be it, about the need to increase tuition, be it about the need to restructure classes or, let go a teacher, but really, really trusting your instincts rather than stewing, because usually the stewing causes more issues.
Yeah, I love it. Holly, where can our studio owners get more information about you and your studio?
Our website is www.tdcdancestudio.info, and we're on Facebook and Instagram as The Dance Connection.
Perfect. Well, thanks again, Holly. Been such a pleasure, and look forward to connecting with you continually in our association.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Clint.
Are you enjoying the Studio Success Formula podcast? Then we'd love for you to share the love. We want to help more dance studio owners become go-to studios, so we'd greatly appreciate you writing us a review on iTunes. For taking the time out to do so, every month Clint will be selecting one lucky dance studio owner to receive a Power Business Coaching session. Simply visit the iTunes store today, search for Studio Success Formula, click on ratings and reviews, and then write your review. Thanks in advance. Take care, and we'll see you next time.